Hey folks, welcome back to another battle report. This one might sound a bit stranger than normal because I'm using a different mic and I'll just see how it goes. So this time around it's another fantasy battle report and it's part of the Grudge Match again, and this time it's part 4, and this is a 2000 point army swap. So I'll be fielding the Chaos army while my opponent will be fielding my Lizardmen army. The setup of the table has to remain the same, but obviously you still roll off for setting up. So we might end up on different sides, but as it was, we actually ended up on the same sides we started our third game in. So this one's going to be an interesting one. So on my right flank, opponent's left flank, he's got skinks with blowpipes, croc scores, and the steg. From the centre onwards, he's got the Slan in his big unit of Saurus, and the hero is also in there, the Saurus hero. The Slan's the second generation, just like the last game. Law of Death, Law of Fire. 3 of one, 2 of the other. Jungle Swarms, the Skinks with blowpipes, and on the far side here's the Skinks with javelins. So on my right I've gone for the quick approach on this side, and I've got my chosen Chaos Knights with full command, the Minotaurs with full command, the Shaggoth. For me, he's the one that's going to aim and take on the Stegodon, because I'm pretty sure he can actually take out the Stegodon's 5 wounds pretty quick with his 5 strength 7 attacks. So a couple of round of combats he should have him out. Then on the bottom we have the Beastman, which also has a Break Shaman with Law of Death, and then my unit of Marauders with flails, full command, and a Wizard with also the Law of Death. And then I have my other unit of Marauders that has the Aspiring Champion, or Exalted Champion, whatever the big Lord dude is, with the Mark of Zinch on him and a Power Familiar. And he's in a unit of Marauders with Hand, Weapon and Shield, light armour. And on the left hand side is the unit of Horrors, and I'm basically going to use these guys. I mean, I think they're about 300 points. They're basically going to be a sorcerer for me, casting a bound level 10 spell each turn. I've said I think these guys will be ideal for chasing off the Skinks on that flank, because my Beastmen I've put near my general, because I'm a bit worried that these guys will scarper going on their last game, and they're generally low leadership of 7. So I get first turn, and I basically just move up. As you can see, I use the Shaggoth to go up behind the building, so he's hidden. Basically he's got the advantage there against both the Crocscalds and the Stegodon, because I'm pretty sure from memory his movement's 7. Other than that, I just line up my 3 wizards to try and do some damage. Try and get rid of the Jungle Swarms, because they'll just hold up one of my units endlessly, and their poison attacks can be harsh against especially something like Minotaurs that don't have any armour. They're pretty horrendous against them. Also my Knights, I've just pushed them up to watch for the flank. If those Skinks come forwards, I can always charge them, or a combined charge with them and my Shaggoth should be able to take out the Crocscalds. Same again with my Minotaurs, they should be able to take out the Crocscalds. If I get charged, I'm pretty much sure I'll lose on the front there after the last game. So definitely making sure I get the charge off there, and also cast a bit of magic against the Crocs there. Managed to get a wound through. Here's just a quick shot of the left hand side there, and my Horrors just turned to face off against the Skinks, and I think I managed to get one. I can't see that, there should be 15 Skinks. I've managed to get one of those little Skinks on the top side there. So Lizard's turn 1, they move up. As you see, the Skinks move up into the woods. Everything just turns to watch my fast flank come around the corner, just so we can drive them off with the Stegs and Crocs. Skinks all move up, ready to start peppering my lightly armoured infantry, and that's it for him. In the magic phase, I don't think a lot happens. I think I managed to stop some of the spells, and yeah, he just stored up some of the magic, because I've got the Diadem of Power, so you can store up to, I think, up to 2 power dice or dispel dice. So in my turn, we're back to Chaos, and I just move, as you can see there. So on the top side there, I'm just bringing out my Shaggoth and my Minotaurs. They're ready to countercharge. You can't see the Crocscalds, just the other side of the Stegodon. Basically my Shaggoth has a charge against either of those 2 targets, I reckon, and he can't charge me thanks to the extra 2 inches I've got. On the top side, the Knights charge in against the Skinks, because they showed themselves to have a couple of pot shots. I charged, they stood, I beat them up, and then charged them to the woods. This did actually have an advantage to my opponent, because in the following turns I actually forget about them for a turn, because they're hidden by the trees from my side of the table, and but they do come back into the game later on. Other than that, I'm just trying to get my magic off and doing some damage around the place, wherever I can do a couple more wounds, and that's about it. Here's just a shot from the flank, and you can see the Chaos Knights running through the woods there. As you see, my Shaggoth, he's actually got line of sight onto his Stegodon, which is, you know, plus or minus. If he stays still to shoot, to try and get a wound off, or do some magic on my Shaggoth, I should be able to charge him. If you look at the way he's facing, it'll be a front charge, and if I overrun, it'll be into the flank of the Lizardmen. So I'll be pretty chuffed with that if I can break that Steg in one go. So as hoped, my opponent did do very much in his turn, so we're actually on to Chaos turn 3 here. In his magic, most of his units held still, and he was just using his magic and range shooting to try and do some damage on me. But yeah, as you can see, his magic actually caused my Marauders with my Death Wizard enough damage to actually panic, and they failed their leadership test, which wasn't great, because I really want, if I can get rid of that Slan, it's game over. That Slan is what quarter of the points, when you take into account the Saurus and the hero with it, and the bonus points you get for killing all the Slan, you're probably looking at half the points of the army is in that one block. So if you lose that block, it is over. That's why I don't often use second gen Slan in my armies. I was only using it for this one because I've never used the Slan before for my lizards, and it was quite good fun using him. But he is a bit big risk. But as you can see, in my turn, I have actually managed to rally my Marauders. On the left hand side, I've managed to blast my magic against the Skinks, but they held. I got rid of the Jungle Swarm, and that caused a panic check on the other Skinks, and they have fled back as well. I've just moved up, and this is the turn I actually think I forget about my Knights, so they're just dawdling on the back side there. My Saurus, see, I'm too busy being in Lizardmen. My Beastmen move up. I get him quite close because I'm pretty sure one of my death spells was pretty short range, like a Steel Soul or something like that. So I had to get him up there just to cast some spells and do some damage. And as hoped, my Shaggoth went in and did some wounds, but also horribly took some wounds in that scrap there. So that's how it is looking at the moment at Chaos turn 3. So here's a quick shot of my Shaggoth taking on the Stegodon. This really wasn't going quite as I'd hoped. I mean, come on, like 5 strength, 7 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s, and I've got 2 wounds on them. And I'm up to 4 wounds. I can't remember what else happened there. I don't know if there was some magic involved. I think it might have just been the pure dice rolling, and that was my result. So I'm down to 1 wound on my Shaggoth, and if I lose him, I'm definitely losing this flank, so that is a bit of a worry. So my Minotaurs I brought up into charge range of the Crocs. It might seem a bit crazy, but I had to do it just to protect the flank of the Shaggoth. Because if things went horribly wrong, I needed to know I had a good counter charge there. So the Crocs go for it and take out my Standard and Musician from my Minotaurs. And that leaves me just the champion left, who's Scarpers. I did actually manage to kill off 1 Croc score. So that wasn't too bad, but that's unfortunate, because if I don't rally, I just know I'm going to keep getting charged now. If I get the charge off, actually, even if I get the charge off, I'm up against 9 attacks. I don't think I can win that. The only thing I'd hope to do is run away with the cow now and see what I can do. But at least he didn't charge the flank of my Shaggoth, where his strength 7 attacks would have probably killed him off. So into my turn 4. This is when I realised what I've done with my Knights here. And they just slowly wheel out of the woods, and they'll be there, probably get me another turn. I might be able to use them turn 6. But yeah, as you might have noticed, they actually lost some bodies there. That's the other thing, because this turn I think I actually had to charge off the Skinks. Or did they rally? I can't remember now. No, I didn't. I think, how the hell did I lose that many dudes? Oh, I think in behind the picture of the other one there's the little wizard dude. The little skink priest, and he's Law of Heavens, so he might have Uran Thunderbolted these guys. I can't believe I lost them all to skinks, but you never know. I know what chosen I like. So at the end of turn 4 we're looking at something like that. As you can see, I actually defeated the Steg in combat, and I had to pursue it. I couldn't really let him have a chance to rally that damn thing. With his Slam Mage Priest there, Leadership 9, Cold-Blooded, he's bound to rally. So I pursued him, beat him and killed him, but my overrun distance put me straight into the front of the Saurus, and with me with only 1 wound on, which is definitely not what I wanted. You also notice there I've got a few casualties on my Beastmen from the previous Lizardman turn. It's because they took some blasting magic as well. But that's how it's all looking. Okay, some confusion there. This is the start of the Chaos turn 4. I've just rallied up in the top side my Minotaur. Yeah, so it was in the Lizardman turn 3, I did the overrun into his Saurus Warriors. That's why not much has happened. I moved stuff up. I moved my beastmen around the corner to have a shot at the crocs, because I know they're going to charge my Minotaur and beat that. So if I can get my wizard there to do a counter charge into the flank with all the beastmen, that would be great. So in the Lizardmen's turn 4, yep, they charge and kill him. So as you can see, I have set up a perfect charge with my beastmen. My sorcerer I actually took out, you see on the top there, to have a go and see if I can take out the skink. I only managed to do a wound on him, and my chaos warriors have managed to move away after being thunderbolted. And as it looks like in this one, I must have 4 wounds remaining on the Shaggoth, because I'm now down to 2, which is ideal. I couldn't believe the Stegodon had done that much damage to him. He had managed to only done 1 wound. So yeah, charged into here, but I'm up against flanks and battle standards and everything else in that, as well as the Saurus hero. So he ain't going to last for long. You can just see my opponent moving his wizard to get away from my Bray Shaman there. In the magic phase, the Slayer managed to vaporise my flank charging beastmen, which is very disappointing because I wanted the points for the croc scores. So at the end of the Lizardmen turn 4, we end up looking like this. Obviously in my turn 4 I zapped the skinks on the left hand side there, and 1 remains just to slow down my poor what they called horrors. In the centre I've just been suffering from the magic and a couple of blowpipes. My guys had rallied and pulled back up again, and yeah, in the combat he actually beat my Shaggoth. As I said, lots of static combat res there to beat him with. He fled, gets away, but he then overruns into my poor Bray Shaman, so I don't see him doing very much. So into my turn 5, and I use my magic and blast the little shits up on the hill here. So I've still got 1 skink in behind somewhere. I'm also going to try and get some magic and get rid of the skink priest on the top hand side there. And yep, combining my 2 wizards I've got there, I managed to get rid of the skink priest at the top. That's another few victory points. But in the combat, of course, that Bray Shaman didn't stand up to much. But as you see, I've actually set up a nice location here. I have the Shaggoth, who did rally. I mean, his leadership 8, 9. I think he could even be a 9. I think he could be a 9 here. But he rallies, he turns to face. I have my 2 Chaos Warriors on the flank, ready to charge. And in between me and the Saurus, it might not be 8 inches, I don't think, if he wanted to charge me first. So he has to play on that gamble. So this is the overall view here, and I think this is the point. I remember now, my Shaggoth is actually only on 1 wound. He actually managed to put a wound on the Saurus or Skyvet, so he's wounded as well. And we're facing off, as you can see, my knights are there ready for a flank charge. I've got my Shaggoth in the front, and I've got 2 Marauder units on the flank of the warriors as well. On the left hand side, my horrors are just there trying to zap off the last remaining skink, just to get the victory points, while holding 300 victory points for themselves, holding a table quarter. So I'm quite happy with them being over there without being too much affected. So it all comes down to this last scrap. The croc skulls I can do nothing about, unless I can happen to get a wizard out of a unit. But of course, if I'm charging, I'm not going to be able to pull a wizard out of the unit now. So it's all going to be charging in and hopefully wiping out that unit, which should win me the game. So onto the Lizard's turn 5, and this is what he decides to do. He actually charges out with his hero against my Shaggoth. So I'm pretty sure we're both on a wound remaining here. He's striking first. I think he's got strength 6, so that's not going to be too good for me. And turns to face and prepares to blast me off with what he has of magic. His croc skills turn around. If my Shaggoth stays, they'll have a nice rear charge. Otherwise, yeah, I'll be getting the hell out of there. But other than that, it is as you can see. Still, he's got the little skink in behind my horrors, just throwing a javelin, just to see if he can annoy me enough. So I thought he was wounded, but he actually seems to have escaped a wound, so it's just me on 1 wound left against the Saurus, which isn't great. If you can get that, that's me done. That's a lot of points there. Done, not overall, but obviously on this flank there's nothing else I can do over here. And then I have to charge the front of the Saurus, which is a bit of a risk, because I'm right on the edge of that 8-inch charge, so we'll have to see how that goes. So incredibly, Lady Luck was with me, and I actually managed to make my 6 up saving throw. So if I'm a 3 up, 4 5 up, 4 5 up, so it's a minus what, 2? So he's strength 5 at this time. So yeah, do my 6-up save and actually managed to get a wound through against him. And because I am actually outnumbering him by a fear-causing enemy, I auto-break him, which means I have to worry about his leadership 9 cold-blooded. So he has to flee. So this is looking at the end of the Lizard's turn 5. So yeah, I broke the Saurus dude, beat him on the overrun, and got into the flank of the Lizardmen. So I'm left with some good front and the rear charges against the Lizardmen there. So in my last turn of the game, what do? I take out... Oh, I declare charge with my Marauders with flails and my Lord, and it was both a failed charge. The Lord's unit just turns around and heads back. My Knights charge into the rear, and obviously the Shaggoth is already engaged in combat. I turned the Marauders around just to grab this table quarter because I was right on the borderline, and I was hoping I can push up my Horrors to capture the forward table quarter. And then for the final combat, with the Shaggoth and the Chaos Warriors in the rear, I actually managed to break, and they failed their leadership check, and it was just enough combat res there for me to modify the leadership enough to beat them, and ran them down. So that was that big unit, and as I said, if you lose that unit at 2,000 points, the game is pretty much over as a Saurus player. So with that one, the game was over, and the Chaos managed to get another victory there. I got a victory for Chaos. That pretty much came down to that Shaggoth grab. That 6-up armor save completely saved me, so I could counter charge and charge into the flank of the Lizardmen. I think the difference in victory points on that battle was about 1,000. So if I hadn't wiped out the that Lizardman unit, I think that would have been a draw. So that's the importance of trying to get rid of the general. I say with the Lizardmen, if you can get rid of that 2nd gen slan, it's so many points in one area, it was perfect, and definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without the Shaggoth. As I said, the Marauders I'd set up to charge actually were out of charge range, and the Chaos Warrior, Chaos Knights, chosen Chaos Knights, wouldn't have been able to actually beat them. So I'm pretty happy with how that played out. And that's how my points are looking at the moment. And now we've just got a 2,500 point game to finish off, and we'll see how it goes with that. One of the fun bits of this is knowing your opponent and bringing something that either is slightly different or a bit unusual. I'd say I've enjoyed playing with the 2nd gen slan, and for a year now I haven't really used him, and now I've all of a sudden using him. It also gives my opponent something to learn as well. Same with the Shaggoth, we haven't seen that thing about, and that's suddenly turned up, and that is awesome. In fact, thanks to this one, I'm actually before the next game will be converting a Saurus hero to have a great weapon. Just dishing out that many strength 7 attacks is horrifying, and can really put the hurt on, especially on armoured targets and creatures like the Stegodon and that. You can actually take it out quite quickly. So you'll be seeing a converted up Saurus warrior with a great weapon, and probably in the far future multiple Saurus heroes with a great weapon. But until then, I'll see you next time. Okay, farewell.